What if the way we do things has less to do with what's right or wrong, and more to do with memories borrowed from someone else's story? What if the routines we call tradition are just echoes of a time no one remembers anymore? The snow was falling softly that December, wrapping rooftops in quiet white as warm lights flickered behind frosted windows. Inside one of those homes, Emily stood in the kitchen, a little nervous, a little excited. It was her first Christmas as a married woman, and she had decided to cook dinner for her husband's family. She looked at him, eyes hopeful, voice gentle, and said, "This year, I want to prepare a turkey for your family. My mom taught me a special recipe. It's been in our family forever." Her husband, Jack, smiled and said, "I think that's beautiful, just tell me what you need." And so, with laughter, shopping lists, and holiday music in the background, they began. When Christmas Day arrived, the house was filled with warmth, not just from the oven but from anticipation. Emily moved through the kitchen with focus and heart, placing each spice, each ingredient, like she was painting a memory. And when the turkey was served, cut into pieces, seasoned perfectly, everyone praised the flavor. It was a triumph. Later that evening, as the candles burned low and the dishes were drying, Jack leaned in with a playful smile and said, "Darling, everything was amazing. That seasoning, honestly, it was spectacular." He paused for a moment, then added gently, "I'm just a little curious, why did you serve the turkey in pieces, instead of roasting it whole?" Emily blinked. She hadn't thought about it. "That's just how we do it," she said. "It's how my mother always made it." Jack chuckled softly, letting the question pass like steam from a teacup. But for Emily, something lingered. A few days later, unable to shake the curiosity, she asked her mother the same question. "Mom, why do we cut the turkey before roasting it?" Her mother furrowed her brow and said, "You know, I've never really questioned that. That's how Grandma taught me. Maybe we should ask her." A few days later, with snow still gathered on the windowsills, Emily and her mother drove out to visit Grandma, whose cottage always smelled like cinnamon and quiet wisdom. She welcomed them in with warm arms and warm tea, delighted by the unexpected visit. Sitting by the fire, Emily finally asked, gently smiling, "Grandma, do you remember why we always cut the turkey before roasting it?" Grandma chuckled, her eyes crinkling with affection. "Oh, sweetheart, of course I do." She leaned back in her chair, the flicker of the fireplace dancing in her gaze, and said, "When your grandfather and I first got married, we had the tiniest oven you could imagine. Couldn't fit a full turkey in there if I tried." She laughed softly. "Our roasting pan was so small, I had no choice but to cut the turkey in pieces. It was the only way it would fit." Grandma's answer brought a small wave of laughter, soft, warm, and full of affection. There was no disappointment, only a kind of relief. A simple truth had emerged from the layers of time, reminding them that sometimes what feels like tradition was once just someone making do. What began as a constraint had quietly become a ritual, passed down not for meaning, but because no one had thought to ask. And that made Emily smile, because now she knew, not just the recipe, but the reason. Later that season, she prepared the dish again for her own family, with the same seasoning, with the same care, with the same love. But this time, she roasted the turkey whole, savoring not only the flavor, but the beautiful irony of finally having a kitchen, with an oven big enough to hold the story in full. So that was Emily's tale. But what does it say to you? Maybe the most powerful changes in life don't come from rebellion, but from gentle awareness. Because so often, we inherit the way we do things without ever pausing to ask where they came from or whether they still belong. Certain habits, certain traditions, certain aspects of our culture, certain ways of thinking or living that were never really chosen, just handed down like a recipe. And yet, some of those recipes carry real beauty, real soul. Like the seasoning in Emily's turkey, rich, memorable, filled with warmth. That part, she kept, because not everything passed down needs to be replaced. Some things just need to be understood. What matters most is knowing why we do what we do. Not out of blind repetition, but out of clarity, out of heart. And yes, some traditions were born in limitation, born from a lack of space. a lack of time, a lack of options. But that doesn't make them lesser. If anything, it makes them more sacred. Because those who came before us, they did what they could, with what they had. They made something meaningful, with very little. And that is worth honoring. So maybe the question isn't, should I keep this tradition or not? Maybe it's, do I understand where it came from? And if I do, can I carry it forward in a way that reflects who I am now, with gratitude for those who brought me here? Because some patterns were meant to evolve, and others, meant to be cherished. You don't have to throw away the whole recipe. Sometimes all it takes is finding a new way to cook the same love, in a kitchen that finally has space to hold it whole. I hope you like this tale. And if you believe in tales that invite us to question what we've inherited, and choose with clarity what we carry forward, consider liking this video, and subscribing for more tales like this one. And if it brought someone to mind, someone who might be following a recipe without knowing where it came from, share it with them. And above all, I wish you a blessed life, anchored in awareness, where the old is honored, the new is welcomed, and love is what seasons everything in between.